guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of Orange County. This is season 18, episode 1, and when I tell you this is about to be a good season, it's chaotic, it's delusional. My heart is warm, okay? Because I know it's about to be messy and I'm down for it. So let's get into it. Sometimes before we get into it, we get a little spicy, just a little bit. And there's a few things that caught my eye on the timeline the day after episode 1 premiere for this season. So let's talk about it. So first up is the situation between Heather and Kate. So Heather was on E! Tonight with Bryce Sanders, and she said this: Heather dishes on her drama with newbie Kate. I think it's Katie. Katie plus calls her Noella 1.5, hashtag RHOC. So let me play that clip for you guys, and then I'll talk to you guys about Katie's response.
My feeling is that when you come into a friend group, you should try to make friends, not try to dig stuff up on people months before you meet them or look to have problems with people. It's just all inauthentic. It doesn't work.
Okay. That plants a seed in my head of where things go, that she maybe gamified her housewife experience.
That kind of thing I don't get. When someone comes into our friend group and wants to make a big splash and thinks they know how to do it, because when you think you're smarter than the show, you've lost. This is an authentic friend group. I have a history with all of these women, and it would have been nice to have Katie come in and just get to know me. I'm sad that she didn't, because maybe we would have been friends.
Yeah, so it sounds like there was a big target maybe that she could hit if she came after you, sort of thing.
Why does everyone choose me?
I don't know.
Seriously, Bryce, this happens often.
It's a pattern for you.
Yeah, you know, she's like Noella 1.5.
Okay.
100%.
Katie's response to Heather calling her Noella 1.5 was this. She posted this on the premiere day of season 18 on the episode 1, where she said, "Thanks for the love on premiere day. Love your Noella 1.5. So I feel like she gonna be with it. She might give Heather a run for her money. Now I'm gonna be honest, I am a fancy pants girl, okay? Heather is the best Capricorn we got for Real Housewives, okay, in the universe. Everybody, she better than Kyle. I like me some Marisol, but she better than Marisol. She better than Dolores. I think she better than Emily. Who else is a Capricorn? I think Yolanda was a Capricorn too. Heather's better than all of them, okay? She's the supreme Capricorn. And as a Capricorn, I ride for it, okay? But I do want to know if their feud or their beef is going to be like legit. Because one thing I didn't like about the beef between Noella and Heather, I felt like I couldn't feel I didn't know how genuine Noella was. And that's what bothered me about her character on the show. I couldn't tell if she was being genuinely herself or she was doing what she thought was going to get her another season. And ultimately, she didn't get another season, even though I feel like following her story with her ex-husband would have been very interesting. But I wonder if Katie is going to give us more, because I hope it's just not her feud with Heather. I hope she has a legitimate reason to beef with the lady, as well as she has a good personal storyline. So, and I wonder if she's going to be able to find her way into this group and stay. So next, let's talk about Walmart Gina and this Travis. Like I said, let's talk about Walmart Gina and Travis. Now, I'm gonna be honest, when I first watched the episode, I had feelings about it, but after watching it a second time to prepare for this review, I was like, I feel so I got a better understanding. But I was glad that I wasn't the only one confused by what Gina was saying. So I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw this post by Bravo Snark Side where they screenshotted an interaction between this user that I see all the time on Housewives Twitter called Chadwick quick, and another Twitter user by the name of Reality TV Junkie. But it says this: is anyone else confused about what's going on with Gina and Travis? If she doesn't try living separate, she's going to lose him? Question mark. Hashtag RHOC. And so the Reality TV Junkie responded by saying, you don't know the tea with the ex. Her family is loaded and paid for him to go to college, etc. Travis hasn't signed the divorce papers. His ex has been asking him for years. There's so much more. So it continues with the Reality TV Junkie reposting something that they posted on April the 20th, 2022. And it says, here's part of the thread about it. Hashtag RHOC. Did anyone see Travis's ex post this in her her IG stories? She made her account private afterwards. How come we still don't know what Travis does for a living? Gina never speaks about it. Emily went after Noella for being with Sweet James for still being married. What about Gina? Hashtag RHOC. And the ex-wife pretty much has, hey, let's stop with the court BS. Sign the stupid divorce papers, or we could keep wasting and hurting the kids and stay married for another 6 years. So I don't know what truly is tea, because it's not like they fleshed out Travis's divorce story. And to their credit, no one really has pried and tried to figure out what Travis does. Like, Gina never speaks about it. So this person might be right, or they might be wrong. But let's move on to our last thing, which is going to be Alexis, aka Jesus Drugs, and Shannon. I guess Shannon recently did a interview with People magazine, and Alexis didn't take too kindly to that. So she posted in her Insta story a screenshot of like the cover of the article, and then she made a comment. So the cover of the article says this: Shannon Bedore claims she was dating John Jansen again before her DUI. It wasn't a good time. Exclusive. It says the Real Housewives of Orange County star has previously claimed the two were just friends when the accident occurred. So then Alexis says this: I know whatever I write, I'll be painted as a mean girl, but I'll gladly take the public beating if it will calm the storms. Shannon, your obsession with John needs to end. I know my relationship with John has been a saving grace for you, as you have been eagerly mentioning our names in every interview in the efforts to bypass all accountability for your arrest. I ask you with all sincerity to please stop exploiting us in your manipulative sympathy tour. John and I just want to live happily in peace, and we wish you the same. She delusional. When I tell you Shannon and Alexis are going to be the reason why this show is good, is because Shannon is delusional and Alexis is delusional. Okay? Delusions coming at each other. And I'm here for it. But let's get into this review. The episode opens up with the DUI. And I'm not going to lie, I was kind of surprised that they opened us up with the DUI. But I guess they were like, cut the crap. We know why y'all are here. So let's just talk about it. So it opens up and we are at the reunion. And it's everyone pretty much telling Shannon, like, sis, you might have a drinking problem. And Shannon being defensive, being like, I don't have a drinking problem. Then they do 10 days after the reunion. And bam, that's when Shannon gets into the DUI. And to be all honest, that situation could have been way worse, but I think because of the cement wall that was in front of the townhouse that she hit, she got lucky. Like, she got lucky that she hit that, and then like her car got messed up and she only suffered like a concussion, because honestly, had that wall not been there, I believe Shannon would have been in them people's living room. So everyone got lucky all the way around. It's still a bad situation, but I do believe that it could have been worse. So we then go 5 months into the future and we see everybody with their families. They're giving us really beautiful B-reel footage of OC. And then we settle in on this scene of Emily, Jen, and Tamara. They're at the gym trying to like pretend to work out pretty much. We find out that Emily has lost 40 pounds and she looks great. I feel like she looked fine before, but she still looks great. I know the Southern beauty standards, like where I live, are totally different than the OC standards. So I get why Emily has always been fixated on her weight. But I promise you, here, In North Carolina, girl, they would have ate you up. They would have ate you up down here. So pretty much we find out that Tamara has a home in Big Bear, and then Jen says her and Tamara are in a better place, but they just realize they got to keep their relationship surface, and she sees Tamara for who she is. Jen is better than me because I promise you I would not be friends with Tamara, especially not after the way that she did Jen last season. And honestly, I feel like it was pretty clear as day that Tamara came on to season 17 with an agenda to beef with Shannon, because she was doing all this stuff online on social media talking trash about Shannon. And then when she got in Shannon's face, they had that one moment on the boat where she was screaming at her. And then when they went to, I think, were they in Oklahoma or Ohio or somewhere like that, Shannon apologized to her and talked about how she missed her friendship with Tamara. Tamara was taken aback because Shannon wasn't acting like the Shannon she thought she was, where she was going to spiral out and be crazy. And so Tamara's like, okay, we can be friends. Then all of a sudden the energy shifted to everyone having issues with Heather and Tamara beefing with Jen. And I feel like Tamara beefed with Jen because she knew Jen was new. Jen was going to be caught off guard, and she also knew Jen wasn't going to fight her back. Because when Tamara threw that napkin in her face, Jen should have pegged it back in her face and told that girl, don't play with me. But we know Jen ain't about that life. But she better than me, because even though I agree with what Tamara was saying, and I believe the things that she said about Ryan, there's a different way that she could have communicated that to her friend if she really cared about that friendship. There's ways that you can tell your friend, girl, your man is a walking red flag and I fear for you, versus what Tamara was doing to Jen. So then we get this scene of Shannon. Her girls are all out of the house. She's not an empty nester. She's in this really nice rental property that's like 5 minutes away from the beach. We find out that her oldest daughter is a senior. The middle one is now in school in New York. And then the youngest one is now a part of this study abroad program where she's been to like several different countries. I think they said like 9 or 8 in her first semester. So her kids are doing great. What was funny to me is how the other ones was picking on the girl that's been through all these other countries, because that's all she be talking about. And they're like, Paris, Germany, France. And she's like, excuse me for having a life-changing experience. I just want to share with you guys. And they were like, we get it, but we tired of it. So it was funny to me. But Shannon ends up getting like emotional, where she's just like, I just feel bad because I've made this decision and I wasn't able to take you to school. So I guess Shannon has taken all of her kids to school or dropped them off on their first day of school. And because of her DUI, she's unable to do that, or she was unable to do that with the youngest daughter. And so they're being very like understanding. Her kids are very like mature for their age. But I do got my good eye on the middle girl, because when Shannon started crying, she kind of had this like, here we go again face. So I don't know. I feel like there's things happening there, but they all were very much like very understanding with her. And she was like, at 59 years old, I can't believe this happened to me. She was like, I've never drank and drive. I've never gotten a concussion, broken an arm. I've never been arrested, but all of that happened in one instance because of one bad decision. And so Shannon explains to us like what happened, that basically her and John got into an argument at John's house. She was like real angry at him and decided to get in her car. John tells her, girl, don't be a drunken idiot. Don't get in your car and drive. Well, Shannon got in the car, and I guess she wanted to like rev it up to prove to John how mad she was at him. But I guess she didn't know that she took it out of park and put it in drive. And that's when you saw the car go flying. And so she said after like 2 weeks after the DUI, Shannon and John broke up. Shannon was like, John told me that like I ruined his life, his family's life, and because of like who I am, like the publicness of the relationship. But she was like, it's pretty interesting that he says that I ruined his life because of the publicness of our relationship, but yet him and Alexis are all over the internet. And everybody knows Alexis used to be a part of Real Housewives of Orange County. She used to be a part of this group. So was it really the publicness of who I was, of who the relationship is, or was it just you didn't want to be with me? And I think she said her and John broke up like 2 weeks after the DUI, and then maybe like 6 weeks after they broke up, he got with Alexis. So she's like, that's mighty convenient. So then we flash back to the girls in the gym, and Jen is talking about how, you know, Shannon has been taking classes at her yoga studio, and they're like, did she fall over? And they're like, and she's like, no, she's actually been doing really well. So then Jen asked Tamara, like, what happened with the whole Trace Amigas situation? And Tamara ends up explaining that they were doing Trace Amigas, but Trace Amigas was all about them getting drunk and having a good time and whooping it up. And she says that they were in the green room waiting to, like, I guess, go on stage or to go back out to meet the people. And Shannon was in the green room after the DUI, because they had a show after the DUI. Shannon had told them that she was like not drinking anymore. She was like quitting, pretty much going cold turkey. And she said, I saw her look around like this, grab a Coke, grab some alcohol, and pour it into a cup and drink it. And Tamara said, after that, I pretty much lost respect, because it was such, like, this situation is serious. Like, you could have unalived yourself, the people living in that house, or your dog. Like, why you're not taking this seriously right now? And so she said after that, she just didn't want to be cool with her no more. So that scene continues with what's it called? With Tamara, like, sitting down at one of the workout machines, basically saying that, like, you know what karma is? Karma is God telling you, like, if you're not going to get your life together, then I'm going to help you get your life together by having the woman you hate get with your man that you are still in love with. And so they start talking about Alexis, and Jen is like, well, does Shannon have an issue with Alexis? Like, do they know each other? Are they friends? And Emily chimes in and was like, no, they don't know each other, but Alexis's ex-husband sued Tamara and Shannon for defamation of character. And Shannon is still upset about losing $300K from, like, the lawyer fees and all of that stuff. I think they settled out of court. Tamara says she lost $500K with the situation, but she said when she spoke to Alexis said that her and her ex-husband had been separated for 6 months, and she had filed for divorce. So she was like, I had no involvement in that situation. Like, I didn't know that he was suing you guys for defamation or brought the lawsuit up against you guys. I told him that I didn't agree with it, and I didn't think he was actually going to go through with it, but he did. So she's like, I don't have no, like, so Tamara's like, once she found out that Alexis wasn't a part of it, she really didn't have an issue with her anymore. So we go back to Shannon's house with the girls, and pretty much Shannon is saying how, like, she's actually surprised that not a lot of people have reached out to her after the DUI situation, and she thinks it has something to do with Alexis and John, because she was like, a lot of people know Alexis and a lot of people are cool with her. And she said this whole DUI situation has honestly showed her who her real friends are. So Miss Fancy Pants herself steps up on the scene, and we're in Beverly Hills. I don't know why Heather just won't be a part of, I don't know, because I don't feel like Heather has the wealth. She has the savviness to be a part of Beverly Hills, but it's just something about her on OC that just, it eats. I feel like if she were to go to Beverly Hills, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the vibes just wouldn't be vibing the way that I like her vibe in OC. But the family now has 3 places that they stay. The house in Beverly Hills, they have the penthouse that we saw last season in LA, and then they have now gotten a suite at the Balboa Country Club, and it's closer to Terry's job as well as it's closer to his mom, that you can tell in the flashback is getting up there in age, so they want to be closer to her. And the money, when I tell you, it's wealth when you see them. It's just wealth, y'all. Just so much wealth when you see Terry and Heather. So the house that they're in now, they got it for $16 million. Remember last season they were able to sell their OC home for $55 million. They're planning on doing $32 million worth of renovations to this home, because Heather wants to, like, strip it down to the frame and rebuild, which makes sense because when you look at the home, it's definitely not the same aesthetic as what they built in OC last when we saw their house in OC. So I can understand her wanting to make it what it used to be, like what she had in the OC. But pretty much it's an old Hollywood home that, like, a lot of starlets have lived in, but Heather don't care nothing about that. So we find out that all the kids are doing great. Like the older kids are doing great in college. The two younger kids really love the school that they're in. And that's good, especially for the youngest child. We're going to find out this season that that child is now transitioning. And I think it's wonderful that they moved, because we're not going to act like OC is progressive. We not. LA is a little bit more progressive than OC. Well, Beverly Hills is a little bit more progressive than OC. So it was probably the best decision that they could do is move into a area that will be accepting for their child to grow and thrive. So we're going to see a lot about that being a part of Heather's storyline. So Heather ends up telling Terry, because they end up sitting down in like the kitchen area. She's like, I want to invite everybody. I want to invite everybody to like a party at the Balboa Club. And Terry's like, you sure about that? She was like, yeah, and I'm going to invite everybody. Last season was a lot. But I know what I'm dealing with. And Terry was like, yeah, it was a lot. And when they showed that montage of last season, I still can't believe that everyone allowed themselves to get manipulated by Tamra. Because Tamra really wounded everybody up to have an issue with Heather. Emily had an issue with Heather. Gina had an issue with Heather. I was surprised Jen didn't have an issue with Heather. And she kind of did until Heather kind of apologized to her. And then Shannon had an issue with Heather. And it was just like, y'all really let Tamra wind y'all up like this? But I guess Heather is like, because Heather and Tamra are cool, but she's like, I know who Tamra is. Okay, I know who Tamra is. So she's like, I want to have this party and I'm going to invite everybody, even Alexis. And it is what it is. We then get this scene of Walmart Gina, AKA, I just don't like Gina. I don't. But she might upgrade to Target by the end of this season. Because some things I'm agreeing with her on, and I'm actually surprised. But we got Gina pulling up to Emily's house. And Emily's also doing renovations to her property. And she's, I think, working on her kitchen. So while they're in the kitchen, Gina basically tells Emily, girl, guess what? And Emily's like, girl, what? She says, I'm selling Elizabeth's Homes. Y'all remember the one season wonder? She, I guess Gina is overselling her La Quinta home that's like $9 million. And Gina's like, girl, how about I ran into Gina's brother, Andrew, and Andrew said he saw Shannon down at the local grocery store with a cart full of booze, full of alcohol, sis. And Emily's just like, that's Shannon. That is Shannon. And Gina's like, it's mighty funny how Shannon was riding me for seasons about my DUI situation and how she helped me and all of this stuff. And don't get me wrong, I think I was on Gina's side where I was like, yeah, even though I don't really see it for Gina, it is messed up that Shannon keeps bringing up how she helped Gina with that DUI. And it's like, you're supposed to help people because you want to help them and you want the outcome to be positive. You don't help people to constantly throw it in their face every time you have an issue with them. And that's what Shannon was doing with Gina. And I remember how pissed Gina, I knew Gina was going to be pissed when Shannon brought up about the whole kids getting taken away to CPS. That really set her off, and I understood why it set Gina off. I thought she was being dramatic at the reunion, but I got it. So Gina is like, I'm not trying to kick somebody when they down, but I'd be well within my rights if I wanted to. And she would. She really would. So we then see Gina and Emily go sit down in the den area. And Emily's like, girl, so what's up with you and Travis? What's up with you and Travis? And Emily basically says that, things are great with Travis to a certain extent. But like, me and my divorce has pretty much gone good. Like me and Matt are co-parenting greatly. He's happy. I'm happy. But Travis is still locked into a divorce that his ex is trying to make his life a living nightmare. And Emily was like, is he divorced? And she was like, Gina responds like, no, he's bifurcated. And I said, what does that mean? So I had to Google. So it says bifurcation refers to dividing a divorce into two separate parts of stages. In the context of a divorce, it essentially means that the legal dissolution of the marriage is granted before all remaining issues such as property division, child custody, spousal support are completely resolved. So basically they are divorced, but they're still in court arguing over like the stuff that they should have got resolved in the divorce. So she's not dating a married man. I mean, he is divorced, but he's still going back and forth to court. And Gina's just kind of over it. And she's just like, ultimately, I feel like what's going to happen is we're going to have to separate. And Emily's like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, because, we need a bigger house. We got 6 kids in this one house. It's the kids are getting bigger. It was cute when they were smaller. When they did that flashback of when Gina was showing Shannon the house, and Shannon was like, oh, this is cute. This is nice. No, it's not. And I don't know why Gina didn't think that them kids were gonna get bigger and outgrow them bunk beds. Like, y'all were living, it looks like, in like a 4-bedroom house, maybe a 3-bedroom, but 4-bedroom if I'm being nice. And you have 3 bunk beds in each room. That's a lot. That's a lot. Don't nobody want to live like that all their life. Like, no. Even if you are a twin, you do not want to live like that all your life. So she basically says that, like, her and Travis were looking for places, but they realized they can't afford them, which I call BS on, because Gina has been on this show since season 13. You mean to tell me you've been on this show for 5 seasons and you still don't have that much, like, you don't have that much money saved in order to afford a home? What does Travis do? Where does Travis work if y'all don't have that much money collectively to purchase a nicer home for you and your kids to stay in? I call cap. I feel like ultimately, like what Emily said, that there's a voice in the back of Gina's head that's basically telling her it's time to move on from Travis. I think Gina has outgrown Travis, and she doesn't know how to tell him she don't want to be with him anymore, because she knows he's a good guy, because he helped her when she was in a bad spot with Matt. I also think that Gina still has some feelings for Matt, because the way that she speaks about Matt so fondly, even though they have been in that DV situation, as well as he was cheating on her for such a long time, I think had things worked out, like where we never known about the DV situation, she probably would have stayed with Matt and worked it out. Because ultimately, I think what Matt did really, like, it really changed her perspective of him. Because normally when people say they gonna get their life together after a DV situation, especially men, they don't. But it seems like Matt really was like, no, I need to get my life together, and went to anger management, did what he needed to do, and has still been doing what he needs to do since that. And I think she still has feelings for him because he decided to actually, like, do the things he needed to do to change his life around. But Emily is like, I'm with Emily. I think she has legit outgrown Travis, and she don't know, like, Gina doesn't know how to, like, break that relationship up. She starts crying about wanting to be alone, but I didn't see no tears, girl. I didn't see no tears. I didn't see nothing. The next thing we get is of Jen and Ryan going out on a date. And I'm sorry, every time I see Ryan, all I see is FBI. That's all I see is FBI fraud, embezzlement. 30 years in prison. That's all I see when I see Ryan. But basically, they're going to dinner. When I tell you between Shannon, Alexis, and Jen, this is that craziness. So they're sitting down at the table, and we find out that the home that we saw Jen in last season, they got evicted. Her and them kids got evicted. We find out that her ex-husband is no longer working with her family's company. He was the one that was supposed to be paying the majority of the rent, and she was doing other bills. We find out that she's not making enough money with the yoga studio. She's only charging $50 a session. And basically her husband and her are, I guess, how much? I think they said $24,000 behind on rent. I said, first of all, how do you get that far behind on rent? How? But it seems like the husband stopped paying the rent in full. Like, she started to be CC'd into text messages, which she should have always been a part of, because you're living in that home. But basically the husband, she was like, I started seeing messages from the landlord being like, I only got half of the rent. Where is the rest of it? So now she has been relying on Ryan and her father to help her catch up on the bills, but she's overwhelmed. She was like, her dad has also been helping her with the divorce, helping her pay for attorneys. And she was like, all of a sudden now her husband is like dragging his feet, when it seemed like last season he was willing to go forward with the divorce, but I guess not anymore. So Ryan ends up telling her, like, you could come move in with me. And she was like, are you really thinking about what that means? Like, all of my kids and me? And she was like, I don't know about that. And he was like, well, why are you thinking about it in a negative way? Because she was like, if we don't work out, I got to start all over again. And I don't want to do that. And I said, well, girl, you probably might have to do that. Because if you go to jail, you starting all over again. That whole entire situation is messy. It's messy. But Jen is like, I'm hoping things work out. Ryan is like, no, just come live with me. This is the same Ryan who I think last year couldn't even help her pay what she needed to pay last year for legal fees between her and her husband. So I'm like, so how are you going to foot the bill for her and her kids? And I think she got like 5? Because they have the youngest son. I think she has a daughter, and I think she might have 2 oldest kids, or maybe 3 older boys. Maybe she got 4 kids. Either way, it's more than 3 kids. And I don't think Ryan got the money. But Jen gonna stupidly believe him and move in with him. So then we have this scene of Heather and Emily out at a restaurant, and then we end up seeing Alexis pull through. But before Alexis gets there, Heather is like, girl, I'm inviting everybody to my party. And Emily's like, yes. But she said, somehow I'm the bad guy. And I haven't even spoken to Shannon, but I was nice enough to give her the courtesy to let her know I'm inviting Alexis. Me and Alexis have been friends for years before you even stepped into the picture. And so they do a flashback to 2012 when Alexis and Heather ended up like becoming friends. And so she's like, we cool. So, but I'm gonna give Shannon the heads up. So then we see Alexis pull up. She gives us her story about how her and John got together. She said they was at the Quiet Woman. When I tell you I want to visit the Quiet Woman, because it seems like all of the mess goes down at the Quiet Woman. Everything goes down at the Quiet Woman. But they were at the Quiet Woman. She said, I guess her booth was next to John's booth. He was eyeing her. She was eyeing him. And then they couldn't stop those feelings. And so, they realized that they really liked each other. And then they made it official. And when she said, take us or leave us, I screamed. Because I said, Alexis, you're playing in my face right now. Take us or leave us. Oh my gosh. So she was like, Shannon doesn't own the Quiet Woman. And the heart wants what it wants. Now, what I think happened, honestly, is that I think Alexis was already supposed to come back to the show. I think she was, and I think she realized that she probably needed to get with somebody to cement herself to be on the show. So her and John got together, and I don't know, John lied about not really being worried about like being in the public eye, because being with Alexis has you in the public eye. She made that long post about the promise ring that he got her. And in my 50s or 40s, I don't want no promise ring. Let it be a real ring. And it's a mess. It's a mess. And then you got Alexis being in my man era. My man. You're like, my man. But my man left you for dead, ho. Shout out to Carisha. Because basically, Alexis, like, she, let me get myself together, because this whole exchange was goofy as hell. But basically, Alexis confronts Emily about her being on 2 T's in a Pod with Tamara, where she ended up calling John a douchebag. And you could tell that Heather was kind of taken aback by Alexis, because Alexis was like, I probably should have called you before this. And Heather's like, girl, did I really just set up a fight? Because that's not what I wanted it to be. And Emily's like, okay, like, what we talking about? So she was like, it kind of hurt my feelings that you called John Jansen a douche. And Emily was like, well, I've known him basically longer than you. You only been with the man for like 2 months. I've known him for 3 years. She was like, and then they flashed back to when John was going off about Gina, which I actually agreed with him when they were beefing. So I wasn't even mad at John going off at Gina, telling Shannon she's no longer your friend. But Emily was like, clearly Alexis wants to defend her man. So then Emily was like, and also I got Shannon telling me for the past 3 years he don't pay for nothing. He talks horribly to her. Like, he doesn't seem like a really nice guy. And then Alexis is like, you're gonna really believe a drunk? A drunk? I said, first of all, Alexis, you just got here. Calm your puss. Another thing is like, girl, you and my man, like you too old to be this delusional with my man, my man, my man. That man has done nothing for you be like, that's my Johnny G. She crazy. Alexis is crazy. So then we get this scene of Shannon meeting up with her attorney. And basically what their attorney tells her that like she got 3 years of probation. I said, shoo. 3 years of probation, and I guess she's working in like a community, and then I think she also has like a certain number of hours of community service, which she's been doing at her church. And the not I would call him the detective, the attorney ends up telling her, like, after you finish your 3 years, we can petition the courts to wipe it off of your record. And Shannon was like, I don't want no special treatment. Like, I want to take accountability for what I did. And he was like, it's not special treatment. Like, it is like your right to seek that if you want it. I didn't get the whole, like, you know, maybe somebody will see Shannon as like a redemption story. I don't know about that, but I do appreciate Shannon wanting to take accountability. We then get this scene of Sophia, Tamara's daughter, and Tamara in the car going to get basically like, what do they call them? The tattoos that you put water on, because them tattoos were too small. They were too small. And I was like, if you could have just drawn yourself with a with a marker, if it was gonna be that small. But she is happy that her and her daughter are in a better place. She was like, there was a time where her and Sophia weren't really talking, but now they're back on track. She said, I don't know how she became such a great person. And then they do all the montages of Tamara looking like a total asshole and being nasty towards people. But she was like, I'm just happy that she is that great. So when they get to the tattoo parlor, Tamara ends up getting like 1-1, like the angel numbers, the 3 1s. And then the daughter ends up getting like a moon on her elbow. And, you know, she talks about how she was angry, like when her older son got the tattoo, but she was like, that was back in the day, but now it's totally different. She said, as long as they don't get no tattoos on their face, we good. Honestly, you get face tats, you a different type of I don't care, and I'd be scared of you. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm cool with a neck tag, but a face tag, no, I need to see your face. Just like when people be changing their eye color, I don't agree with that either. That's your eyes are your eyes. So we find out that Sydney is still not talking to her. And some people online were upset about her bringing up Sydney, but in all honesty, if that is Tamara's reality, then she should talk about it. I was actually surprised that she talked about it because so long she was committed to not talking about it. And basically, Sydney doesn't really communicate with her sister or her brothers. Because I think, no, her brother, she's really just committed to her dad, and that's it. And you could tell that Sophia was uncomfortable with the conversation because she was just kind of like, you don't need to be telling me this, you need to be telling a therapist. And then when Tamara started to tear up, the way she just kind of like patted her mom's back with like uncomfortableness, I was just like, yeah, Tamara, I mean, I'm glad you're sharing, but you should probably be sitting on somebody's couch like talking to them. Because she was like, whenever she sees the numbers 111, the angel numbers, she always makes a wish that like her daughter will come back to her. And I mean, it does have to be hard for your child to cut you off and you don't really feel like it was fair. But then again, it's Tamara. It's Tamara. But that happened back in 2016. So the girl has been committed because it's almost been 10 years since they've communicated. So we then get this scene of Gina and Travis at their house, and they're sitting down talking about him moving out. You could tell that Travis doesn't want to move out, but I think Travis also understands that, like, or knows that Gina's trying to break up with him, but she don't know how to do it. Because I can tell that Travis really loves Gina, but I think he also knows that the writing is on the wall, because Gina's explanation of like, you need to move out so we can figure out what this is, because, you know, we don't have room for the kids. And I don't think Travis has full custody of his kids. It's like 50-50, but it's just kind of like when those kids get over here, it's a lot, and then your ex-wife is a lot. I just think we need to have space and then come back in the middle once we're in better places. And she starts crying. You can tell that Travis wants to cry, but he trying to hold it in, because when he was like, it doesn't matter, basically saying like, whatever I say doesn't matter because we're going to go through with this either way. And so Gina talks about like he's been here for me since the whole DV situation. And honestly, I just think she really has outgrown him. Like it doesn't seem like Travis is really bringing anything to the table. And at this point, them kids are getting older, which means they're going to go to college. They're going to college, and we got to get some money in somehow, some way, and you got to do more for me, sir. And you not doing it. Everybody is getting ready for Heather's party. It's the day of her party. We see all the girls getting in hair and makeup. We get this one brief moment where we see Ryan asking Jen while she's getting her makeup done, like, are you nervous about the party? And she's like, no, the only person I think I might have something with is Gina because she hasn't responded to any of my messages. And I said, what is that about? We then get this scene of Emily and Alexis in the car. Alexis is like gleefully telling us that she had sex with that withered old man. I said, okay, girl. And then she talks about how like Emily was like, so how are you gonna feel about seeing Shannon? She was like, if Shannon keep it cute, I'ma keep it cute. Or we just might need to rip the band-aid off of it and have a conversation about what the real issue is between us. I said, okay, Alexis. Okay. Okay. We then finally meet Katie. We see her and Gina, her get in the car with Gina. They're riding together. We find out that Katie is friends with Sutton, and Sutton told Katie about Gina being a realtor, and Gina, I guess, is supposed to be helping Katie find like a new home or a place to officially stay in the OC. We then get this hilarious scene of Shannon. She has on this really cute black outfit, this really cute black dress, and she doesn't want to wrinkle it, so she is sitting in the car like this, like leaning like this. And I said, Shannon, sit down. Like, she was like, I don't want wrinkles. I don't want wrinkles. I said, girl, okay, Shannon. So they get to Heather's party. Katie makes a comment about how this is the first time Heather has ever said hello to her, but this isn't the first time she met Heather. So already like stroking the flames of their beef that's a brewing. So Heather sees both of them. She says hello to them. She was like, what can I get you to drink? And then Gina makes a comment about how at a Heather Dubrow party, there's always something to do. Like Heather has like this wish wall that's like anonymous, but everyone's name is on it. They have signature drinks. They have a tarot reading. It's a lot going on. I would have had fun. So we see Jen getting her tarot reading done. And I'm like, you might need to quit your job because that lady said, positivity is coming. I said, is it, ma'am? I don't know about that. So we get this awkward hug between Jen and Gina. And I was like, okay, girl, so what's tea? So Gina lets us know that over their break, she got a phone call from Jen being like, hey girl, I'm getting evicted. I need to find a new place to stay. And she's like, okay, cool. So I guess Gina put her in a new home or helped Jen find a new home for her and her kids. But now Jen is falling behind on payments of that. And now she's getting CC'd on emails about Jen not paying. And Gina's like, that looks bad on me as a new realtor. And I said, you know what, Walmart, Gina, you right. I can't even fault you. I can't even fault you because she is fairly new, and now it's gonna kind of look like, oh, you out here like giving people like bad tenants and messing up what they got going on. So I understand that, but I just think Gina just needs to talk to Jen, and maybe once Jen explains to her why she's having issues, what am I sitting on? Okay, my bad, y'all. While she's having issues, then maybe they'll be able to move forward. But I was kind of like, oh my gosh, I agree with Walmart Gina. That's why I said she might get upgraded to Target because she got me at this point and then she got me in another point. So then we see everyone mixing and mingling. We see Gina rip Tamra's pantyhose, and then we see Alexis and Tamra see each other and they're excited to see one another, and everyone's just kind of like, And Alexis says, we had our issues. She called me Jesus jugs and stuff, and they show flashbacks of when they was beefing back in 2013, and like Tamra was going off on her, and Alexis was like, you doing too much. But she was like, they were able to work past their issues and now they're cool. If I was Alexis, I would keep my good eye on her. Okay. And if I was Tamra, I would keep my good eye on Alexis. Y'all not really friends. Y'all just got a common enemy, and it's Shannon. It was nice to see the black lady who was the coach that helped the acting coach for Heather and Taylor. She seemed really cool. So then we see Tamra ask Emily, like, girl, so how did your lunch go with Shannon? So they do a flashback scene where Shannon and Emily met up, and basically Emily was like, she says she's down to like a 2-drink minimum. And Tamara was like, she told me she was going sober, like she was quitting drinking. And Emily's like, well, that's not what she told me. And you could tell that Shannon does have a problem, because the way she stuttered trying to get it out, she was like, no, I'm down to 2 drinks. It's probably 4 or 5 drinks, ma'am. But you might. And then Emily was like, do you just think like maybe you should just quit? Like, you might want to quit. I mean, girl, this is a serious situation. It seems like you got a problem. So we then get this scene where Emily pissed me off. And this is why. So we then get this scene with Emily. And when I tell you this is why I can't fully go up for Emily, is because Emily thinks she's funny and she's not. She has like frat bro humor. And that kind of humor is only funny for about a good year when you're in college, like when you're 19 or 18. And then it gets annoying because she's drinking this espresso martini that Heather has for everybody, and on top of it has like 2024 on it, and I guess it's like this like layer, and it's supposed to probably be like sugar or something, or it might not even have a taste, but like Emily drinks it, and I guess it congeals after a while, and she spits it out, and she was like, oh my god, it's like drinking a loogie. And I said, Emily, there was no need for you to do that. And then to follow it up by saying, it's okay, I drink after my dog. You drink after an animal that licks its ass, its balls, or its vulva. And this is supposed to be gross to you. And I get texture because I'm a texture person as well. But that pissed me off. Emily does that type of stuff, and it's not funny. It's like, it's weird. Like, because she did somewhat the same thing at Heather's last party. Emily has an issue with Heather. I don't know if she wants like approval from Heather and she feels like she hasn't gotten it, but she has an issue with Heather because when she made the whole situation about the HD at her party and was like making fun of and was eating things like a rabbit, like she does these things at Heather's events, and it's like, why? Like, do you not like her? Or do you want, like, or is there like a competition that you have in your head with her? Or is it you just don't like her and you just don't want to admit you don't like her? It's weird. It's weird. So everyone's waiting for Shannon to get here. And girl, Shannon had a good intro walk. She strutted up in there like a baddie, okay? And then she walked in and everyone's like, oh my gosh, she's here. She's here. So she comes in. They all are like, oh my gosh, hey, can I get you anything? She's out there on the 360 camera. And you got Emily, Katie, and Gina talking. And Gina was like, girl, I would be upset. Like, he's with a Barbie talking about Alexis. And she was just like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't. And then Emily's like, that's why I can't get rid of Shane, because I divorced him. He going for a 25-year-old. I was like, I don't know no 25-year-old who will want Shane. But okay. Okay, unless he a sugar daddy. Okay. So then we have this conversation between Shannon and Gina. And Shannon basically does what she did last season with Tamara, where she immediately apologizes. And Gina is taken aback. And she's like, oh. Like, she wasn't like, she tells her thank you, but she was not prepared for that, because here lately Shannon has not been apologizing to Gina. So then it stops Gina from like getting her lick back by saying like, I feel bad for you. Like, are you okay with her being here? And she's talking about Alexis, and Shannon's like, yeah, she did me a favor. Me and John being together was not good for me, so she can have him. And then Shannon was like, should I just go over there and have a conversation with her? And Gina was like, you sure about that? You sure you won't do that? She was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna just go over there and have a conversation with her. So you see Shannon walk over to Alexis. Alexis is even surprised that she came over there, and she was like, can we just have a conversation? And Alexis is like, okay. So then we see them go outside. Shannon is like trying to drag one of the tables across the ground, and you see production be like, no, we got it. And then Alexa's like, girl, let me just help you. So they move the table over. And so this is where Gina got another point for me, because she was like, they really fighting over him. Like, they honestly should be fighting him. And she was like, I don't care how big his you-know-what is, because that's the rumor on the street, is that John got a big you-know-what. But she was like, they should not be fighting over him. And I said, I agree. I totally agree. So they're outside. And you can tell Alexis is nervous and Shannon is nervous, but Shannon is way more prepared. And honestly, I got the best laugh of my life when they were all like in the window watching, because that would have been me. That would have been me. Girl, low-key, I would have stood outside so I could hear more. But because they go outside and everyone's in the window just like, girl. And they're all sitting there drinking. And it seems like Shannon's whole issue with Alexis is about the defamation lawsuit. She's like, I lost $300K, and as a single mom, that was a lot. That was a lot. You got Alexis being like, okay, and everyone's like, okay, Alexis's head nodding, Shannon's not letting her speak, and she was like, and the thing about it is you started the ball rolling because you sent us a cease and desist. And Alexis kind of made this face like, okay. And then she was like, and Shannon's like, we might never be friends because I can't get over that, but we can be cordial. Are you cool with that? So then Alexis is like, okay, so I don't really think that's the real issue between me and you. I think the real issue is that I'm with your boyfriend, your ex-boyfriend. Like, I don't even think it's a 3-year-old lawsuit that you have a problem with, because I wasn't even with my ex-husband at that time. We were separated, getting a divorce for 6 months, and I told him I wasn't cool with that. And then she was like, on top of that, I never sent you a cease and desist. And Shannon was like, yes, you did. And Alexis was like, bring me the paperwork. Show me the paperwork. And I'm like, Shannon, yeah, do you have the paperwork? Because if you're accusing her of sending you a cease and desist, then I know it had to be in the legal document, like court filings, if you used it in your case against him. And so she's like, tell me that. So then Alexis is like, I'm not about to argue with you about a 3-year-old case. I know what the real issue is that I'm with your man. And Shannon is like, I don't want him. I'm glad y'all are together. But then I kind of think it. But then Shannon kind of confused me, because then she was like, and John knows what I suffered through. So he could be able to tell you what I went through with, but because he was suing me and we were together when that was happening. So I do kind of think it is a little bit about John. I think it is about the $300K being taken from Shannon, but I also think it is the fact that John saw the way that I suffered through that case, and he still is dating you. Like, what sense, like, he really, like, this is heartless behavior because he knows what I went through. So then Alexis is like, you're just mad that we're together. And she keeps saying that, but she says, you know what, Shannon, move on. There's the door, Shannon Bador. And you know Alexis had been practicing that because she stuttered when she said it. And so Shannon is looking at her like, girl, you're getting very angry and I'm not angry. And Alexis is like, I'm not angry either. And I said, okay. And so when she does, there's the door, Shannon Bador, she walks away from the table that they were at. And then she was like, you're just mad. She says again, you're just mad that I'm with your ex-boyfriend. And Shannon was like, you can have him. I'm cool with it. And then Shannon looks at the camera. Perfect. And I said, oh, this season is about to eat. This season is about to eat. Because again, Alexis is delusional, Shannon is delusional, Jen is delusional. We got mean spirit, chaotic Tamara. We got Emily, who can't let go of her frat bro humor. We got Gina not wanting to admit that she has outgrown Travis, and that's why she don't want to be with that man no more. And we got Heather. I don't know what Heather about to be doing, but she about to be doing something, and I don't know. And you know, we got Kate and Heather beefing. It's going to be a good season. Yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic, and definitely hop down in them comments below and share your thoughts with me. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.